Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into Canva's massive new update. And trust me, if you run a small business, you are definitely going to want to hear this. It could literally change your entire workflow.
Yeah, ridiculous is honestly the perfect word for it. That quote really hits the nail on the head. This isn't just a minor tweak or some fresh coat of paint. Nope. We're talking about a fundamental shift in what Canva is, turning it into an absolute powerhouse, especially if you're trying to keep costs down.
So, here's the plan. We're going to look at the new AI design tools, then jump into how Canva is getting into things like forms and email. From there, we'll see how this all pulls together into one streamlined workflow, and, most importantly, what it all means for your business. Okay, so let's start with what you already know and love Canva for, making awesome graphics. Except now, it's about to get way, way easier and a whole lot more consistent for your brand. So, the AI design generator, it's not totally new, but the game changer, the real magic here, is that it now hooks directly into your Canva Pro brand kit. This means when you type in a prompt, it's not just making something generic. It's pulling your brand colors, your fonts, even your photos to give you a starting point that's already on brand. Zero extra work. But here's where it gets really cool. Canva's AI can now create its own vector shapes. And if you're wondering why that's a big deal, think about it like this. Vectors are the secret sauce for professional logos and icons. They're built on Moth, not pixels, so you can scale them from a tiny icon to a giant billboard, and they stay perfectly sharp. No fuzziness, ever. And get this, it's super easy to use. You just type in what you want, like a speech bubble that looks like a heart, and bam, you get a totally unique, scalable graphic. This is a huge deal. It means you can create custom icons and assets for your brand without having to learn or pay for something complex like Adobe Illustrator. We're talking serious savings in time and money here. Okay, but what about this problem? You know the feeling, right? You find this awesome illustration, but it just doesn't match anything else you have. It sticks out like a sore thumb. That kind of inconsistency can really cheapen your brand's look. Well, Canva has a solution for that. And honestly, it might be my favorite new feature of the whole bunch. It's called Style Match. Okay, so check this out. Imagine you have an illustration with a specific look. Maybe it's a watercolor style. With Style Match, you can basically copy that style and paste it onto a totally different illustration, instantly. It's like a magic wand that makes all your graphics look like they were made to go together. Total brand consistency, just like that. All right, so those design tools are amazing, for sure. But believe it or not, that's just scratching the surface. Now we're going to talk about how Canva is pushing way beyond just making pretty pictures. It's actually getting into the nitty-gritty of running your business. Yep, you heard that right. Canva now has forms. You can build, design, and even host them right on a Canva website. The whole idea is to let you grab info from your audience without ever having to send them somewhere else. And this is huge. We're talking application forms, onboarding checklists, client surveys, you name it. And all that data you collect, it goes right into a Canva sheet. So you can see where this is going. You might not need to pay for Google Forms or Typeform anymore. Everything stays in one place, which is great for your workflow and your wallet. And it doesn't stop there. They're also getting into email. Now, the promise is awesome, design stunning, on-brand emails inside Canva, but there's a little bit of a reality check here. Our source points out that you really need to test it with your email service provider because there can be compatibility issues. Oh, and you have to remember to shrink your images yourself, or they might load super slowly for people. So it's powerful, but you got to be a little careful with it. And all of this really points to the main idea behind this whole update, right? It's all about consolidation. Canva wants to be your all-in-one hub so you can stop jumping back and forth between a dozen different apps all day long. I mean, just look at this. You can now post Reels and Stories directly to Instagram. You can launch and manage your Meta ad campaigns. You can upload your finished videos straight to YouTube. All of this without ever leaving Canva. Think about all the exporting and re-uploading you don't have to do anymore. It's a huge time saver. And there are a bunch of other little workflow boosters too that just make life easier. Like bulk export for downloading a ton of designs at once. That's a pro feature, but man, what a lifesaver. You can also password protect your PDFs and websites now, super important for client work. And if you make tutorials, the screen recorder can now capture your entire screen, not just the Canva app. These might seem like small things, but those saved clicks add up fast. Okay, so we've gone through a ton of new features. A whirlwind, for sure, but let's bring it all together. What does this ridiculous update actually mean for you and your business? The big takeaway is this. Canva is not just a design tool anymore. It's becoming a full-blown business platform. It's a place where you can handle your creative work, your marketing, and even some of your day-to-day operations. It's exactly like our source said, they're bringing everything you need into one spot. Design, marketing, data collection, it's all there. The goal is pretty clear. They want to be the one-stop shop for your business. And that means less hassle, sure, but it also means fewer monthly subscription fees, which is a massive win. So this really leaves us with a big question to think about. As these platforms like Canva keep growing and swallowing up other tools with the help of AI, the whole idea of essential business software is changing. It's not about finding the best tool for each individual job anymore. The real question is becoming, which single platform can do all the jobs for you? That's a pretty big shift.